Welcome to Cut Up's Film Review, brought to you by Maize and Blue Review. We are here to talk about Michigan's slow start and then eventual dominating victory over the Indiana Hoosiers. I am here, of course, with the star of Cut Ups, the man, the legend, the wizard. Steve, you messed me up because what you were saying before we came on. I don't remember what I normally say to you. But anyway, Steven Osentoski, Toski the GOAT, no cap. How you doing, brother?
Doing well. I've been thinking you're calling me the wizard, and that's a fun little nickname. I'm calling Trevor the Machine, Trevor Machine McHugh. I like that because you just got off of a podcast with Jake Butt, got me all fired up.
I'm so fired up.
You got a lot going on. You're a busy guy. So the Trevor Machine McHugh, that's.
So you say machine, and I think about the Bert Kreischer stand-up there, which is one of my favorite. I will not watch that movie; it looks terrible. But the stand-up bit is hilarious.
That's it.
We just did an episode, a little 20-minute talk with Jake Butt. That's on the channel. You watch that when you're done watching this full episode.
Yes.
But yeah, he's the man, dude. A little over a year ago, I mean, nobody knows who I am now yet either. But back then, nobody really knew who I was. I reached out to him, just shot my shot on Twitter, slid into his DMs. It's like, hey man, I want to write a really long column article about your entire football story. And he responded almost immediately. And then we text back and forth, had some conversations for a few days. Then we had a 2-hour conversation. And he just was so candid and told me everything. It's one of my favorite articles I've ever done. The guy's just, and I'll tell you, he brought it up in our show too. If you're a fan, man, and you've got him on Twitter, Instagram, whatever, if you talk to him, he'll respond to you.
Yeah.
And he's killing it, dude. He's so good at color commentary. He's so good in the studio. And then on our show, I was just blown away. I'm like, man, this guy's just really good at his job.
I don't know if you watched a Notre Dame USC game, but I wanted to fall asleep. The commentary was just so boring on that.
I feel so bad for Notre Dame fans. I don't know.
Oh my gosh. And then you go and watch just any Big Ten game that Jake Butt is the color commentator on.
He's doing a great job.
The passion is there, man. That's the thing. People want to hear the passion. They want to hear people who are passionate talking about football. So yeah, he's one of the good ones. And yes, I'm biased because we're Michigan fans, but he's excelling.
Genuinely good.
He's excelling off the field in ways where, with how his career unfortunately ended, a lot of injuries there. It's great to see him find a way to keep that passion going in the sport and keep him in college football any way that he can. So no, he's a star, man. He's going to continue to be a star.
No, I mean, if you've ever talked to him or if you know his story, I'm just genuinely happy for the dude.
Yeah.
He's happy. I'm happy for him. So
Speaking
of talking about football, let's talk about football.
Look at you.
Yeah. All right, let's get through this first quarter.
Yeah.
I don't mind having, you and I have talked about this. I don't mind having, I don't want to say bad things, but we've never been the show that's just look how great they are. Let's break down some mistakes. There's nothing wrong with that. The team saw it. The coaches saw it. They made some quick adjustments, but let's take a look at what you got here.
Yeah, let's get going. A lot of negatives to start. All right, it'll only get better, but got to get through the tough first quarter here first, and there's quite a few to break down here. So let's get going here. 3rd and 7.
I don't really hear the audio.
And I mean, there were a couple comments in the chat before we got started here about right away. Are you worried about the pass rush? Are you worried about Michigan's offensive line and pass protection? And I think it's a mix. I think a couple guys were off their game on the offensive line. I think Indiana dialed up some timely pressures. And I think J.J. McCarthy could have done a little bit better job getting rid of the ball, right? So this is one of the ones where you're in zero, right? You don't have anybody on the line of scrimmage as extra protectors. You got 5 on the offensive line. You got 6, right? They're bringing a linebacker here. They are shifting the protection to pick up the blitzer here with your center, and then you're going to have your guard and tackle here. That means you got a free edge rusher, right? So there is no time here for J.J. McCarthy to be able to adapt to this edge rusher, right? What is the solution here? If you want to throw it quick, right, maybe just start it out right here, right? This is your quickest developing route, but he's not even, Cornelius Johnson isn't even looking for the ball here, right? He's only getting across here. And this is not something that it's designed to get out that quickly, right? So I don't fault JJ McCarthy for this move, trying to get out of the pocket, right? Change direction. You like that battle for JJ McCarthy. This is one of Indiana's better players, right? Aaron Carter, linebacker, 44. He's a good player. So coming off the edge there, shows a good change of direction himself, able to get a piece of JJ McCarthy. Now, right here is where you got to throw it away, right? There's a time and a place to continue on here. When you see additional bodies rushing at this point for JJ McCarthy, right? There's times to continue on and make the play. We've seen JJ McCarthy do it time and time again, but this is kind of what you get for that playmaking ability. Sometimes he'll try to make one too many plays, and this is just one of them, in my opinion, right? You can't fault him for this sack. I don't even really fault the offensive line. This is just a 6-man pressure against 5 blockers, right? You have to leave someone on a free rush. So I give more credit to Indiana than anything else. I think JJ McCarthy had an opportunity there to get the ball away, just to throw it away and live to see another down, win the field position battle, right? So kind of tip your cap to Indiana. This is one where I put more just on Indiana having the right blitz for the right play, and maybe a little ding on JJ McCarthy for not recognizing, hey, this is a throwaway and play the field position game. But that's my read on it.
I was a little surprised Donovan didn't get called back into the backfield.
Yeah.
That was, and I don't know. I saw somebody say they thought they saw a signal come from the line that they thought maybe JJ missed, and I don't know. But yeah, like watching that live, I was like, he's coming. Like I could see it. You know, I think you can see it coming. So kind of interested how that developed. But yeah, you're 100% right. I don't know if it's just because he hasn't been sacked a lot this year or what, but that was like old JJ we got to see at the end of that play.
Right. So yeah, again, time and a place, right? And against better teams, right? Obviously, this one ended up 52-7, so it didn't matter. But punting here from the 50-yard line on 4th and 7 is very different than punting from your own, 33-yard line. That can play a huge difference. So these little things do matter, of saving that 10, 15 yards for a punt. You know, that can pin a team deep and play that position battle game. And so those are just little things, right? And that's really the final evolution that I see for JJ McCarthy, is recognizing those scenarios, recognizing when you need to just say, you know what, we're going to play the field position game here and not try to make every play the big play or keep every single play alive. Sometimes you're not going to be able to, and that's okay. Okay, moving on here. Obviously, Michigan's first couple drives stalled. That first one did. 3rd and 2 here for Indiana. So I was a little confused about yeah, go ahead.
The audio's not coming. Like I can hear it like it's playing in your room, but it's not coming through the broadcast.
Okay. Let me do this real quick. Ready for this? Share screen. Oh, it said share. Here we go. Share system audio. Here we go. Let's do this one more time, shall we? Here we go. And scene.
He can really rush the quarterback. 3rd down and 2. Jackson guns it underneath, caught, and a first down for the Hoosiers.
There we go.
Nice.
Audio good?
Nice.
Okay. Need that sweet audio. So I was a little confused about
you brought it last week, and now it's got to be there.
It's got to be there. So I was a little confused by this off coverage, right? You're essentially baiting Indiana for this little hitch, right? Look how far off Rod Moore is playing here. So it seems like this is a cover 1 scenario, right? Where you're manned up here, man coverage, single high, manned out here, and then you're probably watching the running back here, right? So this is the overall coverage. So I can understand. I really don't get the depth here. Maybe there are better defensive minds who can really help explain it to me, but it seems like as you're asking for that exact sit route, right at the first down marker. It's 3rd and 2, so I'm not really understanding of why Rod Moore is that far back. I don't think his reaction to this is necessarily bad, right? As soon as he sees this, could he be reacting a little bit quicker? Probably, maybe a half step. His technique isn't necessarily bad. I do think, keep in mind with him, right? He's probably game 3 back of full speed or so. And I feel like the rest of the defense was really just getting up to speed on that 3rd or 4th game. So if there's a full-time Rod Moore, right, like fully healthy from the start of the year, I feel like this is a pass breakup that you would expect him to make. And I actually don't mind him kind of selling out for this, right? You always want your safeties to make a tackle in this scenario, but the upside of him diving here and going for the pass breakup, that's a big play, right? That forces a punt here. Instead, you give up an extra, 3-4 yards to the tight end as a result. So, don't love the play. That's why I have it here on the negative, because I felt like the coverage was way too far off for this. You're asking for a simple hitch route. That's way too easy for Indiana. But again, maybe this is something, I feel like we mentioned it a ton, Trevor, where you put this on film, right? And then a team goes and tries this, and guess what? You drop back.
A couple guys mentioned that in the comments already.
Yeah, 100%. So that's the thing. Again, I don't understand this for now, right? But other teams will have this on film and say, hey, this worked. And they might try it, and guess what? Boom, right? It's all about having an answer, the reaction to the reaction, right? So that's the thing where it was frustrating to see Rod Moore. You'd hope for him to maybe be a little bit quicker as he just gets more reps after being injured a little bit to start the season. But yeah, frustrating sort of start on a key 3rd down here on an early drive for Indiana.
Yeah, same as the last play. Again, watching it live before they even snap it, I'm like, they're going to get the hitch. They're going to have a first down. What are you doing?
Right.
you know, so did you think they mentioned this on the broadcast? Did you think that Jesse Minter was kind of running vanilla or base or whatever, feeling out Indiana coming off the bye? They've got their new OC. Like, was that kind of the vibe you got that from that first quarter? Is let me see what your script plays are, and then I'm going to adjust.
I always think that's the case, where you have to expect some form of, hey, this team watched our film and they have special plays to take advantage of your tendencies, things like that. All the play calling early on for both offenses are to learn from the defense's reaction. That's why you call certain plays and have certain motions to try to suss out what the defensive game plan is, right? So there was, I feel like, a lot of question marks coming into this week with the new, with the firing of the offensive coordinator, having a little bit extra time to install, under a new regime. So I definitely feel like there was some of that. I also felt like Indiana played relatively well. I feel like they got decent push off the offensive line. Their double teams got more movement than I've seen a lot of offensive lines against Michigan's D line. So I feel like it's probably a combination of that, where they had a little bit extra time, Indiana did, to prepare for this game with the new coordinator. Probably some vanilla play out of the defense for Michigan. And then I feel like they just started slow. They started slow, and Indiana came out pretty hot. So I think when you combine all those things together, that is a pretty good formula to have a less than great start on the defensive side for Michigan. Ooh, we got a Darbo. Nice. All right, here we go. 1st and 10 here. And Indiana is approaching midfield here, 1st and 10. Let's see what is going on.
Colorado on the road, your boys. I thought we were going to get out of the first quarter until you got me like that. All right, up 1st down.
I have a couple plays here where I felt like they were really picked.
I love Gus. He's so funny.
Huh?
Gus is so funny. Colorado.
Okay, a couple plays here. I felt like they were really, really smart about attacking the zones here of Michigan's linebackers. I feel like they put Michigan in a really good conflict here for the linebacker play. So Junior Colson, I feel like, is a little bit in conflict here, where you have the tight end kind of headed up the seam. You have a sort of in route here, right here for this wide receiver, a little crossing route for number 4. And you're kind of forcing Junior Colson to either follow one or just kind of sit here and wait. But it's a pretty clever little pass here. I don't know why my application is freezing on me. I apologize. I meant to hit play here, but to throw before it gets into that zone for Junior Colson. So I felt like this was pretty well scouted for Indiana to take advantage of some of that, what I feel is an area of growth for Junior Colson, of being able to recognize, not just covering grass, but choosing someone to get after here, right? So it's another thing where I feel like it's a consistent issue that we see, where you have multiple guys covering the same zone, right? You have both Mike Sainer still here and your defensive end. Where are they going? Who are they covering, right? When you have two Wolverines in the same space here, occupying the same area, right, there's usually an issue. Now you can understand here, right, this running back out of the backfield here, that's likely influencing this motion here, and we don't have a full picture of what the exact defense looks like. But to me, there's a clear bust here. Either it's Mike Sainer still, who has flat responsibility, or your defensive end here who's backing out, right? So this is an issue where if this guy's going out here, he's probably sitting right here where this sort of little short in route is that would break up the path here for the pass, right? So I feel like one area of weakness that we've mentioned week over week is just the defensive ends and guys dropping back into his zone. And I feel like Indiana scouted pretty well for that. And combine that with, an area where I don't feel like Junior Colson is necessarily best in zone coverage there. And you can get some easy yards, right? And again, how do you take advantage of, or how do you almost take away the advantage that Michigan has in the pass rush, right? The athletes are just going to be better. They're going to get home at some point. Just these quick throws, right? This is nice and simple. You don't really need to beat anybody. You just need to sit there, right? And Indiana did that well.
No, I'm with you. Obviously, with Sainer still and Moore, just by the way they're both moving with the flat, it feels like somebody's obviously in the wrong spot there.
Right.
And I will say, last year, big red flag, the linebackers in coverage. We picked on them quite a bit. They've been much better this year.
They have.
I do think there's moments where you can put Colson in conflict and pick on him a little bit. But even when they've given up receptions, they've done a pretty good job of tackling right away. I mean, you could say that about the entire Michigan team, really, secondary as well. But yeah, this is just, we've seen this play a few times this year where it's like, someone's probably not supposed to be there.
Right. And I mean, it's a good point. Also, Antoine Johnson mentioned defensive ends, instead of just dropping, they should be looking back and looking, what is the route? If I'm dropping back here, where am I going? Right. And we'll have a good play from Kenneth Grant, right? Defensive tackle backing up, where he does exactly that. He looks over his shoulder, notices a slant, and then he looks back to the quarterback and boom, he's right there. Right. So this is another thing where if you're dropping back, the initial thing should be, hey, can I see someone crossing back here? Okay, maybe I should try to mirror that a little bit. Right. And that's something, it's one thing to say it 1 week or 2 week, but now that we're into week 7, right, it's starting to become a bit of a concern. So it's an area where you have to question, like you have to think they're trying to teach them that, right? They're trying to teach that, but why is it not showing up in this film, right? So that's where the next step for those guys really comes in. And that's where you need to improve, that I see the most in zone coverage for sure. Moving in 2nd and 5 here, right around the 24-yard line for Indiana. I don't know why I said Indiana like that.
2nd and 5 at the 24. Jackson over the middle this time. Another catch.
We don't even have to spend a whole lot of time on this. Same thing, right? Jalen Harrell here. Right? I get it, right? You get it. He wants to get out to the flat, right? That's his responsibility. But you have to consider, right? He loses his guy. And this is a tough one, right? Because you could very well have this guy do like a little fake out here, right? And then get out to the sideline. So I understand this is a little bit more difficult for Jalen Harrell's responsibility. But to me, there is a difference between getting depth responsibly and getting depth irresponsibly. And here he's again, it's a focus on getting to the area first and then checking instead of being a little bit more intelligent, where right here, I feel like you should start to notice this, right? Start to notice the inside movement there of Camper, right? Number one, I believe that's Camper. And start to mirror that a little bit, right? Instead, like just deviate your path. Instead of going directly out to here, recognize that and deviate this just a little bit inside, right? And a win here isn't necessarily getting a pick, right? A win here is just occupying the area enough to make him wait, right? Because look at what you have backside on this, right? You're bringing Mike Sainterstill. He's a free rush, right? If you get a little pump fake there just for Jalen Harrell being in the way a little bit more, that gives time for your pass rush to get there, right? And that's not there. So, I mean, that's the reason that we don't see the aggressive coverage there from Keyshawn Harris, is because you're expecting Jalen Harrell to dissuade this pass a little bit more by his drop. And he doesn't dissuade it enough. He's just trying to get to an area and then react instead of start getting there, recognize the route, and then try to shift over to that, right? So just little things, right? Little things. And that's the difference between, a 10-yard pickup and a 3rd and 5. So, yeah, that's my take on it.
I'm just so glad you said, I don't need you to get the pick there.
Right.
Right. I need you to make that quarterback not throw it in less than 2.5 seconds.
Right.
Because with the edge pressure, the interior pressure, what we've been able to do in the blitz, we're creating pressure. Just get them to hold on to it for 2.5. That's what I need. Right.
Yep. And I mean, I feel like there's a couple things that you can do. Like, I get it. He wants to get out to the flat quickly. Right. But you can take just a little bit of a step, like a little bit of a back step here before getting out. Right. You can do a little bit rather than taking this direct path. Because again, look at how easy it is for this. When you see a defensive end running like hell this way right away, that's not going to dissuade anything for this, right? How is this guy ever going to react to that? It's not realistic, right? So it's almost like playing the read option, right? And kind of if you're playing the read option, you're the edge player, right? You want to make that decision of whether you're keeping the ball or giving to the running back hard. You want to make that a really difficult decision for the quarterback. And this is the same thing. You just want to make the decision difficult, because as soon as you have that quarterback start to question things, that's where things go wrong, because it takes extra time, and time in the pocket means more opportunity for your pass rush to get there. Okay. So again, those are fixable. These aren't big things. It's not guys like missing plays. It's just a little bit of a deviation from what they're doing, and you make that play.
2nd and 6 at the 10. They'll pitch it. Turner near side, and Turner.
All right, it's not all negative, right? There were good things here, and we have a couple of really good plays here. So really good recognition from Wallace on the outside here. He does a really good job recognizing really quickly, right? And I'm impressed by him keeping his eyes in the backfield here, right? This shows up in the film room, right? Of, hey, out of this formation, right, out of this look, they usually like to do a quick pitch, right? So his eyes in the backfield, he's not dissuaded by this little quick slant here from Camper, right? He is probably coached here, hey, verify that this isn't happening first and then follow this, right? We're going to have inside help for this initially, but this pitch, you need to get outside of that. Excuse me. And that's where the eyes take him, right? He doesn't fall for that, because Indiana's banking on him following this, right? Boom. You follow here. You take out this with a block right here from your wide receiver, and then boom, right? You got no edge contain. You have the blockers here to work upfield to the safety, and then you're gone, right? That's the overall play design. But Wallace not doing that, right? He is essentially forcing this wide receiver back inside, right? And there's nowhere to go because he beats the block as well, right? So all Josh Wallace has to do, keep your outside arm free, force this back inside where you have linebackers, you have your defensive end, you'll have your safety flowing to the ball. Just buy time. And not only does Wallace buy time here, he makes a great tackle. So really good job on 2nd and 6 there. I feel like he's emerged. I feel like Michigan doesn't have a whole lot of question marks still. That cornerback 2 spot and getting more depth at corner, I feel like that's the one area they're still trying to figure out their best option there with rotation between Wallace and Harris. And I feel like Wallace has put a little bit better on film at this point. But yeah, really good play.
Yeah, and this is a big thing for corners at Michigan too. We always talk about if you can't tackle, you're not playing.
Yeah.
Right. So this is a guy that's played a lot of football. Right.
Yep.
4 years, 2-time captain, whatever. Getting to the outside, nice tackle. That's what Michigan wants to see from their corners. Not even getting into the coverage conversation where I think he's been better than he probably gets credit for, considering they're not throwing at Will Johnson ever.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's a great play, man.
Yep. And then shout out to, a guy that has definitely improved over the last couple of weeks, Josiah Stewart here. He is responsible for the quarterback, right? If this is a fake pitch, anything like that, keep your eyes on the quarterback. Trust your teammates will be able to take on anything out here, right? That trust your guys will be able to make a play on the outside. You are just responsible for the quarterback. So it's a good job. You can tell by his eyes too, right? Boom, make sure that he does not fake this pitch. Playing assignment football, right? We knew that he had the athleticism, but just playing assignment football. Recognizing your responsibility in the run game and not going, hell-bent for leather every play. Those are the things that were really keeping him from that next level. And now he's playing assignment football, right? He's keeping that inside, recognizing that your teammates have the outside gap here. And then once it's time, boom, then you go and contribute to the tackle here. So it's really good job from him to recognize that. And he's putting a lot more consistency on film. He's looking more like Jalen Harrell, who's one of the more consistent, from a technique and assignment football player. But obviously, I feel like Josiah Stewart has that quick twitch ability on top of that.
He's put 3 really good games together.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
All right, and then 3rd and 12 here. So again, this sets up a 3rd and long, right? That's a big play. And now we get a timely turnover.
3rd down and 12 of the 16. Jackson. And that one deflected and intercepted. Michigan has it. Rod Moore. And the Wolverine.
Get your hand on the ball. Good things happen, man. Good things happen. Mike Sanders still with the tip. Rod Moore with the interception here. It's a little worrying how open this little fade was, right? But I trust Mike Sanders still, right? I don't exactly know where this ball was meant to be going. It seems like he's probably throwing it here and just threw it high, right? Because you have a little sit route here, and then you have a fade route here that Mike Sanders still comes off, right? He's reading the quarterback here, and that's why he stays here. And that's why this looks so open is because Mike Sanders's eyes are in the backfield and recognizes that, right? So I don't know if it's just a miscommunication, but not the best throw, right? So good recognition there for Mike Sanders still getting his hand on that ball. And then Rod Moore, right? Just being at the right place, right time, but it's not an easy catch, right? You have to go low for that fingertips catch. And then good blocking downfield, right? Really good job from Will Johnson there, getting a block. You see Mike Barrett flying down the field. He's actually going to get a pancake block here on this offensive lineman. There's the initial block, and then there's Barrett again. Boom, barreling down 65. So that's one of my favorite things after an interception is just the defense becoming the offense and just flying down the field, picking up blocks. It's like the most fun play. But yeah, anyway, good job keeping your eyes in the backfield for Mike Sanders still and getting a hand on the ball. Tip drill in effect.
I think Mike Sanders still makes a great play here, and here's what I think. That was an option route for the tight end, and he tried to sit in the zone, and Trace Jackson thinks he's going outside. And Mike Sanders still has his eyes on the QB the entire way.
Yeah.
That's why he doesn't go with the receiver there. He knows what's coming, and he's able to reach back and get the tip. But yeah, I think quarterback thinks the tight end is going to keep going out, and instead he sits there. So he's throwing it where he thinks the tight end would be if he would have cut. Sanders still gets the tip, goes up, and he knew he didn't let the receiver go, and he's open because Sanders still knew watching the quarterback the whole way he was never throwing it there.
Yeah.
I think if it wasn't, I don't want to say such a bad throw, but like if that miscommunication isn't there, it doesn't look as bad for Sanders still. But if you watch him, he has that play read the entire way.
Yeah. And again, this is something where we're not in the film room week over week, right? This could very well just bear, hey, out of this, they love to throw this, right? And keep your eyes in the backfield for this sort of route, right? So there are things where, it doesn't look great, right? To have,
but right here, look, when he gives up on the route, the ball's already out of
the ball's in the air, right? Yeah. So I feel like the other angle made it look a lot worse, but he's still even with this. He's just reacting to the ball. He has a good read on the quarterback there and is reacting quicker than anyone else to this ball. So really
he did throw it high. I don't know. That's weird.
Yeah, not a great throw, right? But it's a wet game, right? So those things are prone to happen. And I see Brock with a great comment there.
He was at player availability tonight, and he said Sainristil said that he intentionally tried to tip it to Moore. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's fun. And again, that bears out like knowing exactly where your teammates will be, right? Like that takes such a level of understanding of not just your position and your responsibilities, but the responsibilities of all 11 players on the field, right? And that comfortability in that defense allows you to make really quick decisions like that comfortably. And that's what makes Sainristil a pretty special player. I feel like he hasn't had like a standout game in the last couple games. I feel like some other guys have stepped up.
But he always play.
But he's still a phenomenal player. He's still all conference level, if not better than that. And he's a huge part of the team. So that doesn't just go away. All right, let's see here. Segment 4, back to the offense. Not positive yet.
In the backfield. Here's McCarthy. JJ looking, and he's sacked again.
So I looked at the PFF grades. Barnhart was graded pretty highly, which I thought was shocking because he gets pretty beat here, right? And generally the rule of thumb is, anything at 10 yards. And what I mean by 10 yards, if this guy is getting around the pocket at anything less than 10 yards, and generally that is a loss for the offensive lineman, right? So 43-yard line, let me actually use this fancy tool. All right, boom. That's 10 yards from the line of scrimmage here, right? So if we move the play forward, this is just going to mess it up. Anyway, so he's getting there right around the 10-yard. Oh no. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So he's around 8 or 9 yards. Okay. So did Barnhart do the worst job here? No, but he lost the block, right? He didn't stay engaged very well with 41, right? He never really was able to get his hands on 41, and he's able to get around the edge pretty unabated there towards JJ McCarthy. So again, was JJ McCarthy holding the ball a little bit too long? Yeah, I think that's pretty fair. But also, there's no opportunity for JJ to make a play with his feet here because of Carson Barnhart. So I give this one probably like 70% for against Carson Barnhart for the sack fault, and then maybe 30% on JJ McCarthy, if that. So it's not ideal, right? That's something. I'm sorry, the split screen here. So looking just like where JJ McCarthy is looking, did he have a window as well to throw this early? I think you could argue yes, throw right now, right? So maybe I'm being a little bit too harsh, right? I don't know what else you need to look at if you're JJ McCarthy. He's clearly reading this, right? Of course, this linebacker will be reacting here, and maybe that's what he's a little bit hesitant to throw that ball. But you have Tyler Morris there right away, right? And if he's throwing the ball right now, right, already in a throwing motion, that could be potentially a big play, and there's no shot that linebacker gets there. So a little bit hesitant, a little bit late on that throw for JJ McCarthy, and then Barnhart just not able to get that block.
Yeah, the PF, especially with the offensive line, the PFF grades are interesting some weeks. I will never forget the Penn State game last year where they had like below average run grade. What? They had 400 yards rushing. What are you talking about? Yeah. This was another one. Barnhart gave up 3 pressures in this game.
Yeah.
Since moving to right tackle, this was, I thought, his most difficult game. He's been more at home there and more comfortable. The guy got outside. It is what it is. But yeah, the grading was kind of interesting. And then, yeah, if I'm giving JJ a break here, I mean, I see the lane to the left of Nugent. We always talk about that camera angle not being great in terms of representing what JJ sees, because if you're flat to the ground and 6'5" guys are straight up, right? And I'm with you. Maybe he's trying to throw between Nugent center, sees the linebacker and goes against it. I don't know, but he's made so many great throws this year. It's like, hey, why didn't you throw it?
Yeah.
Right. So
right. And I mean, even at his first read, right? His first read is on the out route for Roman Wilson. At least it seems like that is, right? It looks like he's looking to throw this right here. I would say you could make that throw as well. This is single coverage here. He's probably got a good, 4-yard separation here. You like the battle there of Roman Wilson, and he's a little bit hesitant to throw that. Again, why? I'm not sure. But then he comes off of that towards the middle of the field. So yeah, I feel like he had 2 opportunities to fire here. Both likely would have been successful. I would say low risk if he fires at the right time for anything bad to happen. Right when he's attempting to throw here, though, I probably do agree that it's too late. And I feel like he probably recognized, hey, there's probably a linebacker looking to react to this pass. So, I get the hesitancy at this point, right? So it's probably not the worst thing that he didn't throw it, because he recognized.
Yeah, the linebacker started to move when he had those couple shuffle steps.
Right. So it's one of those things where, I mean, he was 14 of 17, right? And when you have that efficiency, right, there's going to be a play or two where maybe you're not operating at 100% efficiency, right? It's just going to happen. And even though this doesn't show up in the stat sheet of like a inefficient pass or anything like that, right, it goes down as a sack. Things like that happen. So again, not making mistakes, you can appreciate that, but yeah, missed opportunities. No quarterback is perfect, but he had a couple guys, I think, that he potentially missed. Okay, couple bad drives here back to Indiana, couple bad plays. I promise to get better after a couple here. All right, we got a stretch of good plays after the bad.
From the 30-yard line, Lucas the motion man, play fake. Sorsby runs it, picks up a first down and more. Beautiful.
Good little fake here, and I feel like there was a stat after the game where it was like Michigan hadn't beat Indiana by more than 20-something points in like 50 years, or maybe it wasn't that dramatic, but in the Harbaugh tenure, at least, this was like by far the biggest win against Indiana. They always bring.
They do, but I got to see this. Yeah.
Yeah. I think in Harbaugh's tenure, you look at Michigan versus Indiana, and this was by far the biggest win. I think it was only like 20-something points. And Indiana hasn't been good in that stretch, really. I mean, 2020 season aside, right? Yeah. But anyway, getting back to this play. So really clever little play design, right? You're sending Braden McGregor. Michigan had this play pretty dead to rights, right? Where you have Braden McGregor coming off of the edge. He's responsible for the running back, right? Boom. Just go down for the running back. If they handed the ball off, take him out, right? Then you send Mike Sainristil off the edge, right? A little scrape exchange here. You take the quarterback. Any quarterback out here, you take him out. That's your responsibility. And then fight off the edge here. This is a longer, response for these guys to get out to any sort of fake here. But they're bringing this guy across and a little triple option, right? So they're bringing him across the formation here. That's exactly what this is. You throw it to the guy in motion if he's open. But that little fake here, right? I think the key thing here is don't leave your feet if you're Mike Sainristil, right? It's okay to break down a little bit, right? Put a hand up, but don't leave your feet. As soon as you leave your feet, right, look at how much freedom you give the offense. He can still throw this ball, right? He could still throw this ball out to this motion guy if he wants right here, right? So you leaving your feet loses all control of the dictation of where this play goes. So he got, right? Sometimes you get got. Right, and that's the reality of it. So it's a nice play from Sorsby. That's a hat tip, right? Hat tip, and I bet next time, right, if Mike Sainristil's put in this position, you punish the quarterback, right? If the quarterback wants to fake that, if he ends up throwing it, right, take him out, right? Get a hit on And if he doesn't, right, if he tries to fake it, guess what? You get a sack, right? So it's one of those things where you get it, right? Because if he does throw the ball, potentially tip pass, right, can really create good things, but you're giving too much power for the offense by reacting to that fake in that nature. So good play. And then let's see what other things can we pick up on this. You see the eyes here of Junior Colson. They're reacting pretty heavily. Both Rod Moore and Junior Colson are reacting, and this is their responsibility, right? So it's understandable, but where's the ball, right? It's fine to be reacting to this, but you also have to get a scope of, hey, where is the ball here, right? So they also get faked out by the pump fake, and their eyes are late, right? As soon as they see that, Rod Moore's a little bit quicker to react to this, but Junior Colson is way late and not a part of the play as a result of that. So just couldn't do better all around, right? And these again are little things that make this from a 15-yard pickup or whatever it was to a potential sack, right? So they were able to find success. So again, hat tip to Indiana there.
Yeah, I feel like 12 cutting across there just messed up Mikey enough.
Yeah.
If he would have had a clean lane, he would just come in and rocked him.
Right.
As soon as 12's there, now he's just on tilt. And then, Colson's supposed to be following the running back, but once he goes and sees him get leveled, he almost like panics now and goes with 12 and opens up the middle of the field. Yeah.
Yep. So again, these are just little things. Good to put them on film, right, and get it cleaned up. Know your job, right? Know your responsibility, and don't get caught in the moment, right? Caught in the moment is, there's a little pump fake here. Take out your responsibility, right? Take them out and trust your teammates to take out the running back going in motion there, number 12 there. Just trust your teammates and their assignments as well. All right, let us look here. 1st and 10 now for Indiana.
Interchange, Rod Carey doing a really good job of playing efficient football here. First down at the Michigan 44. Sorsby steps up. They want a trick play here. Here's the pass, wide open, touchdown.
Heck of a throw, right? I mean, the guy used to be a quarterback, right? Again, what did we just say? Sometimes you get got, right? And Michigan as a team got. Except for Mike Barrett. Mike Barrett knew exactly where this play was going. He called it out. We see right here, as soon as you recognize it's backwards, he called it, right? Boom, right there. And Keon Sabb, unfortunately, we'll get the other angle here. Keon Sabb did not have that same reaction, right? He's there, right? He's there, and you have to recognize, hey, there's something coming out here, right? So young player, right? And this is the thing where I feel like Indiana – I mentioned the defensive ends, right? And them not being able to appropriately drop into the slant zone or the short curls appropriately, maybe picking on Junior Colson in zone coverage here. They're picking on a safety here, a young safety, right? One of Michigan's less experienced players on the back end for sure, taking advantage of that, right? So that's smart. That's smart offensive play calling. So I give them a lot of credit, right? Because do you think this happens against Mike Sainristil? Do you think this happens against Rod Moore? Probably not, right? Maybe, but probably not. So it's one of those things, right, where it happens once, you put on film. I bet that doesn't happen again to Keon Sabb. I always could be wrong, but these are the things in a 52-7 game, right? It's better for this to happen now, right, than to happen later on where a big play like this actually matters, especially for a young player like that, right? And I think back to like Jalen Harrell against Ohio State with a little tight end leak on 4th and 2, right? Would you rather that happen in a 52-7 game or against Ohio State when the game is on the precipice of getting out of hand, right? So little things like that, right? He'll learn from it. And that's the takeaway you have to have. And that is, hey, hat tip to the offense, learn from it, and make that mistake once and not happen again.
Oh, wrong one. Sorry. Antoine nails this, and Jake Butt specifically talked about this when we were on our podcast tonight in terms of Michigan State running trick plays. How often do we talk about 11 players always doing their job?
Yep.
Right? The reason trick plays work is you get someone to stop doing their job.
Yes.
And he wants to come up and make the tackle. I mean, Jake described this to a T. It's exactly that. He's supposed to be in coverage. He sees the ball. He wants to come up and make a hit and make a play. And there's no reason for him to leave that spot there.
Right.
Now, I get it. Maybe you're not expecting the throw, but that doesn't matter. Right. You got put in a position where you stop doing your job, and that's what happens. So
yeah,
I'm with you. Keon's just a massive fan of him. I think we knew he was going to come on this year and start to have an impact. What he's done in Rod Moore's absence, and it was an easy interception, but he makes up for it later, obviously, right?
Oh, sure.
But yeah, I'm with you. I think this is something he did once to learn from, and will be good. And yeah, I'd rather it happen in this game. You're 100% right.
Yeah, and again, it's all about. I feel like that's been the theme, right? Trust your teammates here. Recognize that what was the play design here for Indiana, right? Boom, take on Sanders still. This guy's going to loop around, right? Try to take this on. If this is an actual screen, right? Trust your cornerback because this is a really difficult job, right? To take out that. So trust your cornerback will be able to make a tackle here, make a play here. Trust your linebacker who will be able to flow, right? And that's 2 blockers against 3 defenders that you hope would be able to make that play. So you're exactly right. As long as you're doing your job, right? Trust your guys first. And all you have to do is suss it out, right? Keep your eyes here, look around, go inside out and just be like, hey, is there anyone coming out towards me that I should maybe pay attention to, right? And then you can fly down, right? Then you can fly down, but you need to check that first, right? So it's fine to come down and want to make that hit, right? Coaches want that to happen. But first you got to do that scan, right? You got to do that scan. He never did that scan. He's following the ball. Boom, there he goes, right? And it's a young player, right? And you're right. He did make up for it, but
I love seeing Barrett like, no.
Yeah, he's like, oh no, go deep. And he's like, oh shit.
But hey, that's the difference between a dude in his 6th year and a guy playing in his 2nd year, first year really getting on the field, right?
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
We're 45 minutes in. Is there any good stuff? I feel like we lost this game.
Here we go. All right, we're starting to get into good stuff. This is a bad one, but I promise.
2nd down and 8. Corum remains in the game as the pistol back. Play fake. Here's McCarthy. Sacked twice already. McCarthy running and lost it.
Another one, man. Another one.
Too.
Yeah, this is tough. And it's one of those things where, again, you love the playmaking ability here. It's not bad blocking except for Colson Loveland, right? It's a good job handling the pressure on the left side. They do a really good job handling this. Obviously, you're keeping in max protect here, but you form a wall here, right? Colson Loveland loses against 41. But you have enough room here for J.J. McCarthy, right, to keep it going. But, I mean, it's a guy that I feel like, I never want to say poach a player, but Aaron Casey again, right? 44, great player. I feel like he might be out of eligibility. But this is another instance where you might want to do a little bit better job if you're – I mean, it's almost an impossible job, honestly, for A.J. Barner to recognize that, right? But at this point, right, where you sense maybe the play's gone on long enough, you can read the eyes here, try to mirror him a little bit, get in his way. But you don't have the eyes in the back of your head. It's hard to really judge that. But again, I don't feel like – we might have another angle. Let me see if I have a better angle here. I don't think I do, to see exactly what he's looking at downfield to appropriately judge.
Just going to say I wish I could, because I feel like this was supposed to be a really quick throw too.
Yeah.
Like immediately after the play action, he's looking to get rid of it to the left, and you can tell a little bit, but like I think he wants to release here and he can't.
Yeah.
Well, the pressure's there. I guess that's the bigger,
Right. So Colson Love needs to do a better job on 41, right? 41 does
that already. Yeah.
Yep, does a good job getting there. So yeah, I definitely feel like this cross here for Roman Wilson. Okay. This is the initial target, and you're 100% correct. Looks like that's where he's initially looking here. He comes off that initial read to the outside for CJ, I think. Then he looks inside right here, and it seems like that's open. Seems like that's going to be open right there for JJ McCarthy. But you're right. Now he's in scramble mode. Now you don't have that window, and now it looks like he's just trying to run. Right? He recognizes he has enough open field here. He's just trying to get there.
Look how quick he goes in Barner's defense. Look how quick he makes that move out. That's crazy.
He's a good linebacker. He's really good. And I'm in a Big Ten fantasy league, and I drafted Aaron Casey as a defender. We have individual defenders. He's one of my two guys because he's a really good defender. I really
Where
like
did
him.
where did you draft Donovan again?
Oh God, I drafted him so high, man, so high. I was happy he got a touchdown for me this week, but
Yeah.
But anyway, the but yeah, I mean, so he gets a hand on the ball, right? So it's something where, this angle we can see Roman Wilson doesn't seem very open.
Such a good play,
right? But it's a great play from the linebacker. So again, hat tip in this scenario. Do you want your quarterback to be protecting the ball a little bit better? Yeah, absolutely. Because these are the type of players that a team like Penn State and Ohio State has, right? I feel like Indiana, this is more of an outlier for them of having a guy like Casey on their defense. That's more of the norm for at least this version of Ohio State's defense and for sure Penn State. So check the ball a little bit more, right? You got to be more mindful of that. And again, it's 2nd and 8. So when you start to sense this, right, I feel like this one I put a little bit less on J.J. McCarthy for trying to get somewhere, right? But at least protect the ball a little bit better. So I can understand him not wanting to throw the ball away. I feel like there's a lot of opportunity there for him to pick up something. So I can recognize that effort, but protect the ball a little bit better. But he didn't expect 44 to make that play, and he did. So, okay, moving on. We're in good plays now. A lot of good plays. Hooray. And we'll probably go another 45 minutes or so, and we'll end with good plays as well. All right.
Sack, a loss of 2, 3rd and 10. Third sack of the first quarter. Here's McCarthy airing it out and puts it on the money.
What a dime, right? This looked like a crazy pass. I was in the stadium, which was kind of miserable in the weather, but I was up in the corner here, like back in this corner. So I saw it, and I saw the guy, like the defenders reacting to this. And I'm like, that seems like it's a pick. But how he squeezed that ball through that window is pretty ridiculous. It's an NFL throw. That's huge. I mean, 3rd and 10, offense looks, extremely shaky. It was kind of like obviously the stakes were a little bit different, but it felt like you just needed a spark, kind of like the OSU game last year, right? You needed that one play just to get the offense going a little bit. And this was, felt like they just need to see something, right? See a successful play, and they got it, right? So the design of the routes here on the bottom of the screen, that's where J.J. McCarthy is looking at the entire time. You're just running A.J. Barner on a quick out, right? Given it's 3rd and 10, this route is just to get this corner up, right? Just to get him out of the way so that Colson Loveland can do a little bit deeper route for the exact hole that J.J. McCarthy throws it through, right? Or I'm sorry, I had the coverage wrong. So they're bringing up, they're sending 15 deep here. So 15 is in deep coverage. This guy is the flat. And then as a result of that, right, 15 is going deep, that deeper out route there. There's going to be a little bit of space there, and that defender falls down because you're in deep thirds here for Indiana, right? So 15 has tough responsibility because he has to get depth here in case you have anything getting vertical, right? So that's why he's getting a lot of depth here, deep third. And then this guy's coming up for the flat. A.J. Barner is necessitating him to react hard to that. So because this is an actual out route, it's really difficult for him to flip his hips here on that assignment to get out there. And he doesn't do it, especially in the rain, right? And that's another thing to consider there as well. So it's actually a really good reaction there from that safety going down into the flat. Just a really good job recognizing where this ball is actually going, 19, and almost getting a hand on it. Just a better throw, right? Just a better throw here. Let's see, is there anything else that would potentially be a better option? Maybe if you're looking in the middle of the field here, I feel like it's a good sit route here for Cornelius Johnson right at the sticks. He finds a nice spot in the middle of the zone. But again, you have to consider his eyes aren't over there, right? So that's sometimes when you're judging a zone. Excuse me, I'm going to cough real quick. When you're reading a zone, you have to understand the eyes of the quarterback are going to dictate where the coverage is. So if J.J. McCarthy is looking right in the center of the field, these guys are going to be reacting a lot more strongly to that. So not gonna knock a throw here that hits that gap in coverage perfectly.
It's a ridiculous throw.
Yeah,
He's gotten so good at throwing the changeup this year. I think like I've kind of forgot what a cannon he's got.
sure.
Like that's a laser.
Yeah.
Derek said this is what got JJ's confidence going. Listen
Yeah.
to this. Starts out 0-2, right? This was the first of 8 straight completions.
Yep.
15 of 17. Or excuse me, 14. Every one of his completions except for one went for a first down or a touchdown.
Wow. Yeah, that's quite the stat. That's pretty nuts. And a lot of credit here for Drake Nugent on the protection here. A little bit of an exotic look for Indiana. You know, they're overloading this side 1, 2, 3, 4, drop into coverage, boom, boom, and then they're bringing a third body here, right? So I think they're overloading the right side here as a result with a pretty complex twist. So it's a good job here for Nugent to keep his head on a swivel, right? He's recognizing they're actually only bringing one guy out here for 2. So Nugent finds work, right? He looks over to his right, is able to shift over and help out that pass protection. Now you do have Donovan Edwards in for pass protection as well, but it's not needed, right? Because the offensive line, especially that right side, does a really good job being patient, right? Recognizing, hey, there's some crazy twist going on in front of us. We don't need to interact with that yet, right? Get depth. Boom. Now react to it. Make sure everyone's accounted for. That's a really nice pocket, right? So really good job.
This is the continuity stuff we've been talking about, right?
Yeah.
The first couple of weeks, whatever. Nugent has been unreal since the first week or two. Him and Zinter on the interior have been awesome. But you can see Zinter reach out, and he doesn't have to. Nugent's already there, but you can see him reach out and kind of get that guy over that way. I mean, it's awesome. He's more comfortable with Barnhart on his right too, but like, boom, the way they react to that, and then he just bullies this dude out of the play and creates the throwing lane for JJ.
Yeah.
So
really well done.
Enjoy watching Zach Zinter for the rest of this year. The dude's going to be a hell of a pro, man.
I know. I'm already coming to grips with Keegan and a lot of these guys being in the pros next year. But hey, we got half a year still yet to enjoy them. All right, 1st and 10 here towards the end of the first.
First down and 10 at the 36. McCarthy hands it off to Corum. Corum with space, and Corum will pick up a...
So this isn't like a crazy play, but I just love or I should say not a crazy pickup, but the play design is really interesting. Where look at the little bunch you have at the top of your screen, right? You got essentially 3 tight ends at the top of your screen here. You have Roman Wilson here, and you're sending him across as a lead blocker on this little power play. It's crazy. So looking at the blocking assignments here, I mean, play side, you can't do much better than this. You got really great block from Bredesen here. Kind of a double team out of Henderson and Barner here, and then a one-on-one block out of Colson Loveland there on the linebacker throwing himself into the line of scrimmage there, or that might be a defensive back. Not sure exactly who that is. But anyway, this is all created from Bredesen, right? Look at Bredesen really turning his shoulders, right? He establishes the inside, and then watch. When you can read his numbers, that's a good sign here, right? Boom. And look at, he's able to shift his body here to then bring his right hip forward, right? And look at that wall here that is formed. So really good blocks from your tight ends. Barner, I feel like we've talked about him a lot, but I still feel like we don't talk about how well he does as a blocker. Loveland does a really good job, and that's a huge hole, right? So really fun play design to be sending Roman Wilson as your lead blocker. I don't know if I've ever seen Michigan run a play like this before. Could you do a little bit better job as Roman Wilson blocking that safety? Probably, right?
But what an ask of Roman Wilson. Like,
yeah, it's
to
crazy.
be the lead blocker. That's the Eric All play back when he was here, right? Like,
right. Do you want to hear my crazy theory about this play in the future?
Yes.
Okay. You run this play, right? You run this play. You get a better block on 41 on the backside, right? But run this play right about here. An extended flea flicker for Blake Corum back, and then you send Roman Wilson up the field here.
Oh, it's got to happen.
The advanced flea flicker, the delay flea flicker. That's what I'm calling for. But really cool.
Away.
I know. If Ohio State or Penn State are watching this, I can't believe they don't have better things to do on a Tuesday night.
I laughed hard to myself earlier. Someone named Larry Johnson asked, "Hey, any insight on blah blah blah?" And I'm like, "We got Ohio State coaches in here trying to get insight."
Right.
Real quick, where we got here, spelled it wrong, Shadyville, but you corrected it. Bredesen looks like he loves blocking. The number one run blocking tight end in college football, according to Pro Football Focus, Max Bredesen.
Yeah, and
number two, AJ Barner.
Yeah, I mean, look at the pancake he gets here, right? And I mean, obviously his brother was phenomenal at Michigan. I mean, you talk about irreplaceable players on Michigan's offense. Good luck finding a better blocking tight end fullback type than Bredesen right now. I feel like, obviously there's a lot of players that I mean, one of the more unsung players, which is saying something because I feel like we talk about him a lot, but what he's doing consistently, right? We almost never call him out for anything that he's ever done wrong. He's an exceptional blocker, and he brings it on every play. And usually when there's success in the running play, he's part of the impetus of that success. So he's a player, man. And what a find, right? Obviously a legacy having his brother, but he's proving himself to be an extremely valuable member of this offense. All right, moving on. 2nd and 7 here. Getting into Indiana territory.
At the 36, Johnson in motion. Play fake. McCarthy looking for Johnson over the middle. Has a man.
This is another one where, like, I remember I brought my sister to the game, and I was like, I couldn't even see that pass. Like, it was just a rocket, and I can't believe the exactness of it, right? Like, that was a rocket and exactly where the pass had to be, right? There's no other spot this pass could be completed. It's nuts.
When we first threw it, I'm like, oh, that was way behind. I'm glad, Cornelius was able to come down with it. One, I didn't know he bobbled it like that.
Right.
And two, you see this and you're like, what?
Hey,
like, where else can you throw it? It's unbelievable, man.
Yeah, it was a rocket arm. Again, was this the best option on this play? Let's take a look. I mean, you're only sending 2 out on routes, right? So, again, would you like this pass to be thrown maybe a hair earlier, like right here? Probably, right? But you also have this linebacker sitting there as well, right? So the window is not really open much at all, right? Like he creates a window essentially with that arm strength. So there are very few quarterbacks that can even get close to throwing that pass. So this is one where if you're a defensive coordinator, you look at it and you're like, we did everything right. We had our linebacker where we wanted to, sitting in the zone. Cornerback was right there. We had a guy, our safety number 6 there, breaking on the ball exactly how you want. You did pretty much everything right as a defense. And Cornelius Johnson does a heck of a job with his body control and bringing in that pass. It's one of those where, again, we can't really see what's happening with Roman Wilson down the field. He's throwing obviously a deeper route, but this is just a guy being a dude, just showing off his arm talent. And hey, when it works, right? So this is quite the angle, right? This is going to be on, I feel like you look at his NFL tape, right? And you're like, this guy can throw it into, pick the smallest target. He can throw it at a needle. That's not even a saying, but it is for JJ McCarthy now. But yeah, he's an athlete.
Sorry, that's just so good.
It's crazy, man. It's mesmerizing to watch. It's like, what the hell? What am I even looking at? All right, 2nd and 9 here. Michigan catches Indiana a little bit of a sleep here.
4-4 at times. 2nd and 9 at the 20. And here's Corum. Lowers his shoulder. First down.
just bowling guys over, right? I remember against the Indiana game or against Minnesota last week, he had a very similar looking run where he just bowled someone over. This one, he said, I don't even need to wait for my block. Maybe he should have, right? But yeah, fun little play, right? Sending Blake Corum on motion here. You're pulling your tackle. You're free releasing your right center and right guard to get outside, and you're sending your tight end in, right? So pull your right tackle. Here's sort of a free release. Nugent kind of has the job of not letting anything leak through, right? So he's initially kind of staying in here before getting out. Zinter is more free to continue towards the outside. And then you have, I believe this is Colson Loveland working to the inside. Is that? Yeah, it's Colson Loveland working there on 44. Really good job from him. Loveland, 18, does a really good job on Aaron Casey. Again, we mentioned Casey quite a bit. Gets really good movement on him, right? Now, would I have liked to see a little bit more hesitancy out of Blake Corum? Absolutely, because I think this is a possible touchdown if he waits, right? Let me exit out of that. Where if he lets, obviously Barnhart's loping out here on the cornerback. If you let Zinter get here, right, there's a possible cutback lane. Everyone's doing their job backside here. You have Keegan to pick up anything else as well, right? Instead, a little bit, Blake Corum says, I'm going to do it myself, and then continues on to the outside. So still a very successful play, right? And it's very well done by pretty much everyone, right? Barnhart does a really good job on the outside there, getting a big block. Corum obviously manufacturing his own yards, but I feel like he did a little bit more than he had to make this a successful play, and he potentially could have picked up a little bit more. But good play design, pretty fun, and gets you first and goal on the 5. No one's really complaining about that.
Yeah, at first I thought that maybe he thought there was a lane there already, but you could see he drops his shoulder early.
Yeah.
He knows that hit's coming. So
right.
A little surprised he didn't do, hand on Zinter's back kind of, which I just noticed. It looked like his left hand was starting to come up there, unless I'm just go a little further back here. Maybe I'm just reacting to his arm swinging. I thought it looked like he was starting to turn his palm out like he was going to do it and then decide to go for the hit. I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, when we're nitpicking, not a 15-yard run pass technically on the shot.
Right. Yeah.
But hey, it's good to see Blake Corum hitting people.
Oh yeah. Hey, and really good body control right here. I thought, did he step out? Looked like he stayed in. I mean, he's doing Blake Corum things, and 100%. It's fun to see. He's the Blake Corum that we came to love last year, and he's doing, no running back of that size should be bowling guys over that easily, and he just does. He has the thighs of tree trunks, and he's a mammoth of a man.
You squat 600 or whatever.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
That's crazy. All right, and then getting to the goal line here. I don't know why I even clipped this. I think it was Bredesen. Let's look at Bredesen again, fullback.
Seeing Corum in here near the goal line. Second down. Here's Corum looking for the end zone.
I don't know why that was all choppy for some reason. I don't think the replay is. But, yeah, I wanted this, I feel like, just for Bredesen's block. So, again, nothing too special. You're pulling Zinter here. Right, everyone's down blocking. Down block, pull, lead, boom. Right, and watch Bredesen out of the backfield, 44. Good block from Zinter. There's your lead block, Bredesen. Get out of my way, right, and just pulls him over. And, the main thing for Blake Corum in short yard situations like this, he just chooses the right path, right? Could he have gone outside and made it a little bit easier on himself outside of Bredesen? Probably, but he finds a crease, right? And he is able to find a reliable crease each and every time, right? I feel like he's always able to find that. So really good blocking. I wanted to include this because I was at the game. Obviously, I didn't see this replay. Is this the weakest? I mean, the guy just trips, right? His foot is between.
I never noticed that.
Yeah. So you see, he's not able to put his left foot down just because.
Henderson grips his foot, so that's why he trips up.
That's why he's tripping and falling. I feel like.
Oh my god.
I don't know. Maybe I'm speculating here, but they're saying, hey, keep an eye on 89. That's a former Indiana Hoosier, right? Keep an eye on him. He might, try to do some trash talking after whatever, but yeah, super soft. And they called out on the broadcast, right? They're like, just leave it. Like, come on. They're just doing a little pushing and shoving here. There's
not the Karan Higdon holding against Northwestern.
Right. Yeah, exactly. the hold from Mars, penalty from Mars, right?
That's one of my favorite Joel Klatt calls. He's like, there's what? He's freaking out. There's no one there.
Right. Yeah, absolutely moronic. It's just crazy. Okay. Moving on to the defense here, 3rd and 2. Let's see what happens.
2. Sorsby under pressure.
Oh man. And
big fella.
Oh, here's the thing. Kenneth Grant shows exceptional instincts here. And again, I feel like we mentioned this as what play was it? There were 2 plays on the interception from Mike Sainristil that no one knew Sainristil intercepted it, and Kenneth Grant was the lead blocker, and he blocked the quarterback. I forget what game was that. Was that Rutgers? I feel like that was the Rutgers game. And then when he actually intercepted the ball against Nebraska, right? His ability to locate the ball in the air and pick that ball off after, I believe it was Brady McGregor got a hand on it. He has exceptional football awareness skills. So them dropping him back into coverage here, almost exactly what I forget, was it Antoine or someone else in the comments? They did an exceptional job of calling out that, hey, look back on what's happening behind you. You understand that like your job is to drop back, but drop back intelligently, right? Recognize here of what a potential route is going to be, right? So Kenneth Grant looks back, recognizes that, he continues on his path, right, of where he's dropping, and boom, he's right exactly where that ball needs to be, right? Give credit to the pass rush, right? You schemed yourself a free rush here by bringing additional pressure, right? You have too many rushers here for blockers for Indiana, right? So you only got 5 against 6. So that means a quick throw will have to come, right? So by faking this, right, and then dropping back, you're gaining yourself an additional rusher because no one's accounting for this. They're accounting for a defensive tackle. Of course they are. Who in the right mind would think that Kenneth Grant, a 340-pound guy, is dropped back into coverage? But again, what we said about Kenneth Grant in space, he moves way quicker than anyone his size has any business being. His agility is off the charts, and his football awareness is just there, right? I don't know many defensive tackles that you can expect to be there, right? So he's just a little late getting his hands up, right? Just a little late, hits him in the helmet instead of the hands. But I had to include his reaction here just because it's hilarious after the play. He's like, he's so upset. But he did a great job, right? He did a great job. That technique, he did exceptional here. So, that's really difficult for any defense to scheme, right? Any offense to scheme against, because when you can intelligently drop back your defensive tackles, it makes what seems like a sure thing, like a quick slant under pressure, what should have been a pick, right? So again, we don't need Kenneth Grant to have a pick here, right? Because this is schemed to get a sack, right? The goal is one of 2 things. Either he recognizes, wow, there's a 340-pound man like in the area of this slant, and I'm not going to throw that and get sacked, right? Or a potential pick. So this is actually the best case scenario for Indiana, how this play actually worked out. But I feel like I feel like Kenneth Grant's gonna get another pick this year based off of this.
Yep. I love so much about this play. Like I said, this is pressure creates bad throws, right?
Yeah.
Kenneth Grant's in the right spot. Even if he wasn't, Rod Moore has played that route perfectly.
Right.
Josiah Stewart unblocked is a bad man. And the throw gets out quick, so you don't really see it. But Mason Graham is chugging quickly.
He is.
Pressure up the middle, man. Like, that's just – this is this defense at the best, the versatility of, again, dropping Kenneth Grant back into coverage. But
I love it.
He's just a big kid. I love it, dude.
It's amazing because
look at Mason with his club on this play. It's ridiculous.
He's just flying in.
Get off me.
It's crazy. Yeah, I just love how they take advantage of unique skill sets, and
100%.
and Kenneth Grant is that.
Biggest difference with this coaching staff. Turnover.
Yeah,
we aren't a defensive scheme that we need to plug you into. We saw it with McDonald in his first year. We saw Minter last year, and we're seeing it again this year. What are our players good at, and how can we use that to our advantage? Obviously, there's a defensive scheme in place, but again, the versatility and how they're taking advantage of it. It's a theme on the field. It's a theme in recruiting, and it's been a massive change in this defense. Also, actually recruiting real defensive tackles instead of making Carlo Kemp gain weight. But anyway.
Preach. All right, back to the offense.
Jordan Glasgow.
Poor guy, man.
Down at 9 at the 14. McCarthy to Edwards out of the backfield, makes the first man miss. And
so again, I feel like there were plenty of plays that I could have clipped where could Donovan Edwards still be doing better in the run game? Sure. But Michigan needs to get the ball in the hands of Donovan Edwards in these situations as often as possible. I saw him taking punt return practice at Minnesota. I'm surprised we haven't seen him actually returning punts because
Nebraska too.
Yeah, this seems like a punt return sort of situation, right? Where you are scheming for this pass, right? Look at all of the deep routes, especially here, right? That's why you're having this linebacker fly back here is because of the threat of Roman Wilson, right? You are sending a lot of guys deep on this zone, and look at how they're having to adapt to Roman Wilson. And then you're sending out, just a little hitch route here on the edge here just to get 41 out in the flat, right? Get him out. This is all to scheme an open area here for Donovan Edwards to cook in, right? But here's Donovan Edwards, right? Boom, you get open space. Look, he just makes people look stupid in space, right? That we don't have a better angle of this, but seeing it in person, this sort of horizontal agility there is crazy. His footwork is exceptional doing things like that. And that's where he's best. That's where he's best. Operating in space, making people miss, right? I feel like that's just the natural athleticism that very few people have that Donovan Edwards possesses, and his ability to get up to speed after making those moves is exceptional as well. So utilize those hands, utilize those moves, get him in space as often as possible. He's going to make linebackers look stupid time and time again, as he has, right? So I feel like they're going to continue to get him in those situations. I feel like it's just a matter of time before he does have a big game, but these are the sort of plays where they've done this a couple times, right? Against Minnesota, we saw this. And I like them continuing to do that because his ability to be efficient on these plays is a lot higher than what we're seeing in the run game. And obviously that's not ideal, but do what works, right? You'll have guys like Ben Hall and Khalil Mullings who can make things work as that second or third back. Get more touches for Donovan Edwards like this because not a lot of guys can do this. And he's gonna pick up a lot of yards if you continue to find opportunities like this for him in your offense.
Just crazy how much different he sees the field on the other side of the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, exactly.
So, no, I'm with you. I know it's week 7, so I can't. I mean, we're more than halfway through the year, which is insane. But I don't know if it's quantity of carries in a game, if it's a big game Dono thing where, it's got to be a big game for him to break out, or I don't know. I still think it's in there. And the coaches still believe in him. The numbers are what they are, but we've seen what Donovan Edwards can do.
Right.
You're not going to convince me he forgot how to be a 5-star football player.
Right. Yeah. I mean, and I'll say this, there's a reason I drafted him in my Big Ten fantasy league. There's a reason I've started him every week. I'm not, I've haven't been the best in this league, but I'm with you. I believe that he's gonna churn that out, and I feel like it's gonna be a similar switch to be flipped where I feel like he's in his head right now. Again, there's not any sort of merit for that, other than just kind of what I feel, but it just seems like there's like he's close on a lot of things, right? And giving him more confidence in these sort of sets, things that are able to take advantage of his skill set, that'll only, I feel like, put him in a better opportunity to be successful. Okay, I feel like this might be one of those negative runs. So let's go ahead and look at 1st and 10 here.
Edwards.
So again, this is one where the play was close and the play was set up well. I don't feel like it was blocked well for Donovan Edwards, right? I feel like he's hitting the hole that he needs to. The blocking, the blocking is relatively there, right? You have a good double on the inside here between Henderson and Keegan. Good double, reaches the linebacker. Good block from your tight end here. Good block from Bredesen on the outside. Main thing is there's your pull from Zinter, and he's not able to get onto that linebacker, right? Zinter is pulling here, and he's not able to get onto this linebacker. Every other block is there, right? You look at the inside here. That's where this play is supposed to go. So, again, there are certain things where it's like, yeah, Donovan Edwards could be doing better, but also that block needs to be there, right? And if that block is there, this is a one cut and go, right? A one cut right here, and you're gone. And you like that battle against the safety,
yep, 100%.
Right? So that's the thing where with his speed, if he can hit this hole quick, right, with this block right here, I don't think this guy's going to get there. You have a good block here from Roma Wilson. I think he could break that, right? So that's the thing where are there certain plays where Donovan Edwards is leaving yards in the field? Yeah, I don't feel like this is one of them, right? Where it's just a flat out miss from Zinter, which doesn't happen often, right? So sometimes there are just things where you're just being unlucky, right? And that's just how it goes, right? For a play to really break it big like that, you need every single block to be successful, and that's a key one. So again, are there things that you could be doing better? Sure. I don't think this is one of them.
Can you go back a little further to the start of the play? Let's see, he's going down the line. Just trying to watch Zinter here. Nobody's pushed. Oh, yeah. Right. It's Keegan's right foot just at the last second comes into it. Boom. So he's coming down the line like he's supposed to. He's got a good lane. Everybody on the line's pushed forward, and then that right foot just comes out.
Yeah. It also feels like it feels like Zinter's not
too early, maybe.
Yeah, he's cutting in too early. It seems like he's trying to cut inside here.
Yeah.
Like he's trying to go off of this double right here, which seems odd because it seems like the play is designed to go outside here. It feels like he's just not he may be feeling that Barner needs help on this block. Maybe that's why he's cutting it up early to help here. And then he realizes, oh, I don't actually need to help.
You're right. He's looking right at him before he makes that move. You're right.
So,
and then he tries to cut back outside, and then now he's tripping over Barner too. And yeah. Okay.
So again, it's tough.
I'm just saying, if we're gonna say Zinter made a mistake, we better be
right. We have to figure it out. Yeah, because that's not a guy who usually makes a mistake. But yeah. So again, it's not that he did like a really bad job, right? Sometimes these things happen. Sometimes you just get tripped up a little bit.
Yeah, it's almost like he thought he could just check one and then get back to where he needed to be and do enough that he got tripped up, and that was the end of it.
Yep. All right, moving in here. We'll do a couple more plays. This will be a two-parter for sure. Let's finish out at least this drive.
And they pitch it back to McCarthy, looking over the middle. Caught again by Tyler Morris in the first down.
Man, Tyler Morris looking a little bit like Ronnie Bell.
Oh, my God. 8. Oh, my God. You read my mind. I literally thought in my head he looks so much like Ronnie Bell.
Just with his post-catch movements here.
It's crazy.
Yeah, just
the way he moves, everything.
Right, yeah.
The pants above the knee.
Yeah, he's got a lot. So you're in max protect here, obviously, for the little flea flicker. Again, I just love that they continue to do this every game just to, again, it's not about how effective necessarily the play is, because again, it's first down, right? It's not like a huge break the game, but you continue. What do you continue to do with a flea flicker? You have to force the defense to stay in their responsibility, right? You cannot throw safeties at the line of scrimmage on every given run. You have to respect the pass because there might be a flea flicker. They've done it every single game, right? So when you do it every single game, you force the defense's hand to respect the routes that guys are running on what looks like a running play, just in case, right? Just in case. So I think we have a little bit better angle of it here. And give Indiana credit, right? They cover this pretty well. And I like the little lackadaisical running out of routes, right? You can see just little lackadaisical routes here, and they don't bite, right? They don't bite. This is guys doing their jobs, right? They do a pretty decent job here of staying home. And, you know, the one thing that, well, it's almost impossible for the flea flicker to not be effective in is your second level, right? Your linebackers are naturally going to come up after they see the ball hand off. So it's going to be really tough for them to react back. In pass coverage, that's going to open up a lot in the middle of the field here, right? So I feel like the read for J.J. McCarthy is pretty much the safety. I feel like he's also reading the back of the head of 7 here to see, you know, what's going to open up here. And this is a pretty easy read for J.J. McCarthy, seeing number 7 there follow Cornelius Johnson on his crossing route. It's an easy option there for Tyler Morris, given the linebacker decides to follow Cornelius Johnson, right? So depending on where number 7 goes, right, because he probably does see this as well, right? There's no winning here, right? You choose this, you got Cornelius Johnson right here because this guy has to respect Roman Wilson down the field. I even think, honestly, maybe Roman Wilson would have been open anyway. You're kind of in a foot race here. If you shade to the outside a little bit, you can probably beat him there. But regardless, this is the smart throw. That's who J.J. McCarthy is reading. So even if Roman Wilson would have been able to make a play, again, that's where the initial read is here for J.J. McCarthy. Can't be complaining about a 15-yard pickup here.
Look at this pocket.
Yeah.
Number 0 hesitates just enough, cutting back in.
Yeah.
Blake comes back out, and then Blake does a great job. It wouldn't have mattered, but he does a great job of getting back, picking up the blocker out, helping out Ladarius there. But yeah, just watch after the flea flicker, and then JJ's footwork amazing. But look at that, dude! Yeah,
beautiful pocket, and that, I mean, that's super important. Obviously, you're keeping in a lot of bodies for pass protection because it is a long developing play.
Right.
But yeah, good recognition for Henderson.
Hesitation on 0 there. Yeah, true.
Yep, good recognition there, and he does enough, right? He does enough 100%. To give time for Blake Corn to get out there. So when, especially a corner blitz, right, it is pretty difficult for any tackle to be able to
deep.
Yeah, to stay there. But again, 10 yards deep there, that's acceptable, and it gives plenty of time for J.J. McCarthy. There's no pressure there. So yeah, good pickup. And again, I love just putting it on film consistently. This isn't a one-time thing. We're always doing this. We're going to test you, right? It feels like a test. It feels like every single game we're going to test your safeties. How aggressive do you really want to be? Because we're going to run it at least once, and that's what Michigan has established here. All right, a couple more plays here. Any day. Come on.
He's rugged. Here's McCarthy to the sideline, back shoulder throw, and it's...
I mean, we've been talking a lot about A.J. Barner and his ability as a blocker. I mean, this is a rope of a throw, right? And just a really good job adapting to the pass. And that's not an easy catch, right? I mean, A.J. Barner is putting a ton on film to be an NFL tight end. I feel like he's proven that. Now, one thing about this route, I feel like he ran a good route, and it's more of a decent coverage on the outside here, right? Because this is a little double move, right? A little double move here. Would I want A.J. Barner to work past that? Absolutely, right? After this double move, he got the tight end to break, right? Did I say tight end? He got the cornerback to break here, right? Look at the body motion or the body language from the corner. He's already beat on this. Now, one thing I would like Barnard to do more is separate yourself, right? You got him to react. Get a little bit closer to the sideline, right? Separate that, use that momentum against him. Don't let him slow you down and get to the sideline, right? It probably should have been called maybe pass interference or holding. I don't know exactly how you would call that, but he definitely interferes on that route, right? So maybe you just give credit to the defensive back for being able to respond to that with physicality, right? But I feel like Barnard could have done a little bit better job. Boom, you sell it. Now get to the outside a little bit more, right? Don't let that defensive back make contact with you. Make him pay for biting, right? And by still just continuing up the field instead of redirecting maybe a little to the outside towards the sideline, he allows the defensive back to get back into the play. But regardless, right, that's great recognition from JJ McCarthy to be like, hey, this guy bit, right? And now he has to catch up here. Body language of the cornerback says he's still trying to catch up. Guess what? Back shoulder. There's no shot of that defensive back to be able to react to that ball, right? So even when the play maybe doesn't go as smooth as it possibly could have, right? JJ McCarthy is still able to read that defensive back appropriately and dial in a perfect throw, right? It's impossible. It's impossible for this defender to defend this pass. And what I usually say, even with good defense, which I would say this is exceptional coverage from the defensive back, if you don't want to call it a penalty, right? Even with exceptional coverage, perfect offense is going to beat exceptional defense almost all the time, right? This throw is an NFL throw, and you see this sort of back shoulder throw work in the NFL because it is so difficult to defend against, right? Almost impossible. So when you time it well and when you have a good physical tight end like that, good luck, right? Good luck. So the evolution of this is just maybe a little bit cleaner after the break right here. The timing's excellent, but yeah, just a little bit cleaner of a route after that on the double move to allow for a throw upfield with momentum down the sideline instead of just a back shoulder first down.
I love back shoulder throws. That Samaj touchdown was so good.
Yeah.
Since we like to do the nitpick about was there somewhere else to go, I'm surprised he gave up on Donovan so early because he leaks here and just.
Oh yeah, good point.
But I don't care because I love that throw so much.
Right. Yeah, you're right. I mean, he could have very easily come off of this, right? Where it's like, okay, there's your double move. Yeah, he's somewhat covered here. Boom, dump off, right? And that's a lot of open space here for Donovan Edwards. This linebacker was a little bit too aggressive, right? And Donovan Edwards able to leak out. So good call. I didn't even see that. But hey, if this is your mistake, right? Exactly what you said, your nitpick of a 20-yard pickup, whatever it was. If that's your nitpick, things are going okay. And that's what, being able to make NFL throws like that, that's what they're able to get.
Oh man, this call.
Yeah. What a call here. I loved it.
I do too.
Excuse me, 4th down and goal at the 2. Here's McCarthy in the end zone. Touchdown, Wolverine.
Just a tendency breaker.
Yep.
Right?
He did it again. A tendency breaker. I was going to say it. I love it. You read my mind.
Of course. And a shout out to Blake Corum.
Yep.
Yeah. Great
Boom,
pickup there. Take it out, right? That's how you do it, right? Really great job picking up that free rusher off the edge. Gives JJ McCarthy that one extra beat to throw confidently, right? You can tell he's a little bit uncomfortable here because they're bringing it, right? You're expecting them to bring it, and he has to come off his first read here. Looks like he's looking to the outside here on I forget the name of this. They call it a sluggo route or something, right? Just a little fake inside slant. You're hoping the cornerback bites hard on that, and then you go back towards the sideline. It's not open, right? And that forces JJ McCarthy to come off of that. So there's not that block, right? For Blake Corum on the edge there, right? You're in trouble. But because that block is there, you're not able to step into that throw. But with all that room in the back of the end zone, right, it doesn't need to be a perfect throw. So I don't know what Indiana.
Why did none of them go?
I don't
crazy.
know what they're doing. It feels like their brains shut off when they didn't see a run on 4th and short on the goal line. That's what it seems like.
Everyone in the stadium thought it was going to Blake Corum, right?
Oh yeah,
yeah,
me included. I was like, man, that's a long 2. Like I trust Blake Corum, but I don't know. But yeah, I mean,
then they run back and they're like, wait, who's what?
Yeah, I mean, there's 4 players, right, that just don't really do anything for Indiana. They're just like, they're running around like these guys don't know what they're doing, right? And these guys are just looking in the backfield like they're allowed to throw on 4th and goal. Like what? It seems like they can't believe it. But anyway, hey, you don't apologize for bad defense, right? You just take advantage of it. So again, these are the things where putting it on film, right? I mean, it's nothing special, right? It's just, hey, we're not always going to do this, right? Even out of this formation on 4th and goal, like not always going to run the ball. So you have to respect, our tight ends and wide receivers in this sort of set. So again, I love that they're continuing to just mix things up a little bit. Doesn't have to be crazy, but just put things on film a little bit, and that's that'll make a difference. Okay,
real quick, I will say, I don't think Cornelius Johnson is getting enough credit this year. He's having a really good year. It's the massive touchdown disparity between him and Roman, and just like Donovan wants a touchdown, and that route probably was supposed to go to him.
Yes,
but the level of frustration he shows, like it wasn't there, dude. You weren't open. You weren't in the end zone.
Right.
And not only was he frustrated after, he sees the touchdown, he still comes over to the sideline like upset. It's like, I know you want to get in the end zone, bud, but man,
I wasn't open.
Yeah,
it wasn't there. Right.
Yeah. I'm prefacing this with he's right there in receptions and yards. It's really just touchdowns have been the disparity this year.
Yeah. Yeah. And that feels like something that will find its level, right? Maybe not 100%. Completely 50-50, but you just got to stay in there, right? You got to stay in there. So I totally agree with that, of just continue to do, and he has done, I feel like, much better at blocking. He's done a lot for this team, and I feel like it'll eventually come. It's very similar to the Donovan Edwards scenario for me, where it's just, listen, you're doing your job. Sometimes there's things that, the blocking isn't going to be there. Sometimes the coverage will just be better on certain downs. Sometimes there's luck, right? And sometimes it just won't work out, and that's life. That's football, right? But you got to stay in there. You got to give yourself the chances, and you got to stay dialed in to be there.
Well, and one thing too, real quick. Sorry, I didn't move forward. The thing I picked on Michigan receivers the most for last year was contested catches.
Sure,
he's 5 of 6 on contested targets this year. He's doing a really good job of. We saw it earlier in these highlights of making that tough grab, going behind. There were some of those plays he didn't do consistently last year, and he has been doing this year. So, just a shout-out. CJ's having a good year, regardless of what some people think, because of the touchdown disparity.
And that was one of his things coming into this year that I feel like was one of the main knocks of, I feel like in the past couple of years, that was the main question mark, is can he make those contested catches? And he's definitely shown that he's improved a lot in that area. So it's going to come, man. I feel like if you're not a believer in him, he's going to prove you wrong. And I feel like he did that last year in OSU. He's just waiting. Yeah, he's just waiting for that opportunity. I feel like it's going to come. All right, let's finish out the half. A couple more plays, and then we'll get out of here. Let's finish this out.
Down at the 18. McCarthy will throw it. McCarthy in trouble. McCarthy out of the pocket. Oh, he just pitches it. Edwards.
Just a fun play, man.
So
just backyard football. This is just, you got a free rusher, right? Again, another well-timed blitz, because you look at how many. This is a really, I would call this almost impossible blitz to pick up, right? You're bringing. How can you conceivably, unless you want to keep Donovan Edwards in, right? And you're noticing this guy blitzing. But that's not the call, right? This guy is relatively well disguised as a blitzer here. You're not really going to be able to recognize that and shift your protection over.
You got to also on Loveland,
yeah. When you're also bringing or at least showing pressure this many guys here, right? So that's a very difficult blitz to pick up. So just on the pass protection, I don't think that's necessarily anything that you could have done better on. This is just JJ making a play, right? JJ making a play. Now, again, could you have gotten the ball out right now when you recognize the pressure to Donovan Edwards? Maybe, right? A quick flip over the middle here, maybe, right? And because everything else is still developing, not even feasible to do that, but this possibly could have. So if you want to ding JJ McCarthy for that, yeah, maybe a little bit. But give him credit, right? This is the thing. Again, when you're dinging players and they're able to find a way to make the play this successful, and they're doing this consistently, right? All of our criticisms, all of our little nitpicks that we're having here, these plays are still going for 15, 20 yards pretty consistently. So that's where you want to be as an offense. Now, I'm a little surprised here that, again, I don't feel like this was a bad play from Donovan Edwards. I like that he put his head down and got an extra couple yards here, right? This is a physical play. Again, this is slowed down, but full speed. He's fighting through that safety and getting there. I feel like his decision-making when he's in like a situation like this is like, man, like use that horizontal agility to get out here, right? Or like put a move on and get out. Like, is this your best option, right? Just those little decisions here and there. And I feel like this is maybe one of those options where, he still is maximizing the yards with that choice, but maybe that choice could have been a little bit better. So again, good job from JJ McCarthy. That's just a really creative pass. Again, it's tough, right? You're running against the body here. Give credit to the defender doing a good job in pursuit here. To force, this is really the only way that JJ McCarthy could get the ball out, right? So really fun way to get the ball out. And give credit to Donovan Edwards for following his quarterback through that, right? Making himself open. But yeah, it just left me with a little bit like, I felt like you could have done a little bit better right here in your reaction here. But again, give credit to the safety. And I still feel like Donovan Edwards did a good job. Just maybe, one little decision here could have turned this from, first and goal from the 2 to a touchdown.
So, did you see the clip of Harbaugh from against Iowa? It's like the exact same play. It's so cool.
Yeah, that was exceptional. He had like a Inside Michigan Football talking about that play as well. There's a Twitter clip of that. So yeah, really fun.
But no, I'm with you on the not cut because I don't know if you saw it. Before he catches the ball, he's already looking at him. Watch. He looks back. He knows exactly where that guy is.
Right.
So it's weird that he still ran right towards him. I don't know.
Right.
Again, nitpicking. I love Donovan getting into the empty space, and he's as good as any running back in the country at this.
Yeah.
So, but,
It feels like one of those things where almost in his mind he's like, oh, I got to be like more physical at the goal line and bull my way in. And it's like, usually yes, but not in this scenario, right? So it feels like he's in his head maybe. Like, and again, this is just me speculating. I have no idea, right? But he's close, right? And you got to appreciate the effort. There's still a lot of effort that he's putting out there. It's just a little bit wrong. So this play I wanted to highlight. Again, we'll duck out of here out of the half. Don't want to take up all of your night, Trevor, but a couple plays here. I wanted to talk about this play a little bit.
Avoids the rush. What a great pitch. McCarthy now with the handoff. Donovan Edwards.
All right, so I'll analyze the play really quick and then want to talk about what happened after the play because I noticed some things on the sideline as well that were, I think, important to call out. So he missed – I feel like, again, he missed a touchdown here where I feel like the blocking is there for this play, right? Indiana only very late to get set. Good movement off the double. You look at the right side of your offensive line here. Really good movement from Zinter and Barnhart. And then Colson Loveland is there blocking nobody, right? So you look at where Donovan Edwards throws himself at the line of scrimmage there, right? Just shift to the right here a little bit, right? Put your nose right into this, right? Follow right here. Follow this block. Instead, he kind of bowls in to this block instead of following the butts, right? Follow the butts. You have no one to
It's
block
the first
here.
time you've said that this year.
That is. I don't know if
it was a go-to last year, yeah.
Was it? But yeah, follow it. Because Colton Loveland has no one to block, right? So I appreciate the suddenness and he is really throwing himself hard into that, right? But again, there's a time and a place to be physical when there's nothing there versus there's a touchdown right there waiting for you, right?
Even just a little juke.
It's not even really a juke. It's just a slight change in trajectory, right?
You to the right.
Yeah. You get right here. You did the good thing. These guys, your speed won you against these two guys. Now all you have to do is carry that forward this way, right? That's it. Just woo boom. Woo boom. Instead, he sees red, right? And he's like, I got to work through this. Instead of keeping his eyes just a little bit open, right? Just scan a little bit more. So he's just like a little bit closed off, right? And that's what keeps him. So it's tough, right? It's tough. And at this point, Blake Corum is looking to come in, right? And then you have Donovan Edwards trying to get his touchdown, right? And the clock's running. Offense doesn't really know what they're doing here. Waste a lot of time. People in the stands were freaking out. Then you call a timeout. You can see, this was, that is a pair of eyes that are hot. And it was during the commercial break. He got an earful from Mike Hart. He did 100%. So I didn't show the actual touchdown, but Blake Corum goes and gets a touchdown. Right. And I still wanted to show that, he could have been on the bench, right? But everyone is out there celebrating everyone, right? So he's frustrated, but he's still showing, getting out there, high-fiving. He's definitely disappointed. And I want this little grab right here where JJ McCarthy is probably saying something like, hey, man, it's going to come, right? Just that little, leadership recognizing, hey, it's going to happen, right? And even on the bench, you see JJ McCarthy talking to him. Right, you'll have Franklin coming over talking to him. You got a lot of guys talking to him, saying, "Hey, man, keep your head up. It's going to keep going." There's Blake Corum, right? A lot of guys recognizing that frustration, right? And it's fair to have that frustration because it's got to feel like a very difficult mountain to climb, right? A very, very tough thing to do when you're right there, right? And you feel like you're doing your best and you're just not able to find the end zone, right? That's got to be really frustrating. So you can appreciate the room. You can appreciate, after getting a little bit of an earful from your position coach, but you got to stay the path, right? So that's tough. It's tough. And again, he did score. We'll get to that in part 2, probably tomorrow. We'll start here in the second half. But yeah, man, it's one of those things where you just got to stay dialed in. Good things will happen if you continue to believe and continue to do things as they're designed. Just wasn't in the cards at this point in the game, right? And he kept his head up and he eventually found the end zone. But yeah, I thought some of those clips were really intriguing. Things that I was keeping my eye on him on the sideline and seeing his reaction. So seeing him go out there, get the high fives, right? See the team kind of rally around him. It's good to see, right? And he is still able to keep a positive attitude through that.
Yeah, and I know some folks, their gut reaction was like, oh, how did they do Donovan like that? Well, he had a shot to get in. And at the end of the day, that's Blake Corum's job. At that spot, that's where Blake Corum comes in, right? So they weren't trying to do anything, blah, 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 whatever. So, but yeah, dude, JJ, just what an incredible leader he is, and just the energy he brings. And him and Donovan are obviously super close. I believe they're roommates, aren't they?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, I think they live together. It's just what makes this team different. You're right. They understand why he's frustrated. They feel for the dude and they celebrated him, and it's just a thing. Right? Yep. So it is what it is. I've seen this a bunch, so I'll talk about it real quick. I think somebody actually just answered it, but Josh has reported over at Maize and Blue Review. It does sound like Mullings is going to be of the shorter injury set, but with the way the schedule's rolling out, with the bye week, we'll probably see him after the bye versus Purdue. Ben Hall comes in. I know it's garbage time, but he ends up leading the team in rushing, looking really, really good. he's back to healthy. Obviously, Toski, you'll go through some of that, I'm sure, in your next episode. So, as always, guys, thank you for joining us and the conversation you're having in the comments. And you had me laughing a few times tonight. The questions you ask, everything. Again, we really appreciate you guys joining in on the show. We've said it a bunch. We want it to be a community effort. We never want to feel like we're talking at you, right? And Toski, you're the best at it. We're not the only ones that do this kind of thing. I really like the way you approach this, man. So again, thank you for letting me take part in it. For those of you that have been watching it live, you already know, like, subscribe, notification bell, so you know when we go live. Had a surprise show tonight with Jake Butt, went live tonight. And then obviously Toski tomorrow, the next day, whenever you go live to do the second half, you'll get that notification. We always try to schedule these in advance so you know whether it's an hour and a half, hour, when we're going to post. So make sure you're liking, subscribing, and again, getting the notification for when we go live. And of course, if you like what we're doing here with video content, please join us at Maize and Blue Review, michigan.rivals.com. You can come into the Den message board community. I know we've got a bunch of regular and subscribers in the comments on this show that are in the Den as well. We're really proud of that message board community. And then, of course, all of our premium content and intel from Mr. Josh Henschke himself. Other than that, Toski, the GOAT.
The machine.
The machine. Are you the machine? I'm going to have to watch that now. I love that sketch so much. But anyway, guys, this has been Cut Ups. We appreciate you. We'll see you soon.
Take care.